It's simple. They feel like it's special because it's my son's mom in the actual tape. But we haven't had any intimacy for 12 years. She could be out back with a dog for all I care. To be honest with you, and she's the only person that we didn't get into the documentary that I wish we did, because it would be the person that's there that wasn't a victim.
That wasn't a victim.
No.
What a fucking week. Rufus, it's so good to see you. It's been too long, and yeah, South Africa missed us as well as the U.S.
It's not been that long, and I've missed you as well. I'm glad to be back home in my humble abode and recording this wonderful podcast.
Care to share?
What am I sharing?
Where have you been? Why haven't we been able to record? Okay.
I was on vacation out of the country in the Caribbean on an island.
All right.
St. Martin. Half French, half Dutch, all black.
Okay. All right. And what do people ask for when they leave? What do people be asking for? Bring me back a shot glass. Is that what it is?
My mom asks for t-shirts. Some people ask for shot glasses. Some people like key rings. My mom's like t-shirts. Whatever you want to bring me back, if you decide to bring me back anything, I'll be appreciative for whatever it is.
I always bring back my team ink pens because everybody can use a pen.
Oh, I don't bring coworker shit.
Yeah. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
To each their own, right?
To each their own, correct.
Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, definitely wanted to start the show with what has been dominating everybody's. I think it just took us all by storm. I think I was on, it could have been Twitter or Instagram. I think I rolled over in the middle of the night.
And what you see?
And people were talking about this sex tape. Diddy's sex tape had leaked.
Does anybody want to see that?
Yeah, they were bashing him for the size of his member,
his
and
dick?
I was
How
like,
big is
well, I don't know. He had it covered in the video, so from what I saw, it was like a 38-minute or 30-something minute, rather. I'm thinking it was 38-minute video that leaked. I saw it on Twitter, and so what you heard, you all, at the top of the show was actually 50 Cent talking about his baby mama who was captured in that video, who he probably couldn't put in the documentary because she was in the case as Jane Doe. So she is an OnlyFans actor, if we can say, and she's been shaking her twat all over Instagram.
Not her twat. So question, she was in the whatever Diddy was charged with before in that case?
Yes.
Is that what she was named? Okay.
She testified under Jane Doe.
Was she a victim?
No, she was his girlfriend, and so she was the one that I think he had bought a property for, and she was living in that home. I think she was, was it Cassie that was? I can't quite remember, but nonetheless, yeah, I was like, okay, that dominated all. We were like, what is going on? So
here's my second
start
question.
the show with that.
Here's my second question. How big was the dick?
You have to go see it for yourself. I'll send you the Twitter link after this.
I'll gladly go over there and take a peek, because if people are shaming him for the size of his dick,
they didn't see it. That's my point. You didn't see it.
Why the fuck? Okay.
You saw testicles, but you didn't see a penis. So.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So they just want to have some shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, it seems like that was a great lead in, we think about that. But just to start, Mal, let's take it slow. Let's ease it on our listeners since we haven't been present for quite a few days. So, yeah, thinking about the police officer here in Pennsylvania. Now, have you ever had your supervisor, I don't like the word boss, just come at you crazy? So, Sean Rifle, who was a police officer here in the state of Pennsylvania, was blasted by his mayor, J. William Reynolds, for doing the show Love Island.
I have heard about this.
Yeah. So that mayor came out and said, it's gonna, we invested in him and the academy, and him leaving puts a deficit in the city.
Yes, all correct. But guess what?
What's that?
He's a grown man. He can quit whenever he wants to, just like y'all can fire him whenever y'all get ready to. So the fact that he decided to leave his career and go do something different, I'm not mad at that, because the man chose what he wanted to choose. And in that career field, there'll be somebody lined up to take his spot very quickly. I assure you.
That makes sense. And, one thing about it, too, his mom came forward. I'm not going to read it for our listeners, but she came forward and wrote, saying that it was not entirely true and that he was previously trained and had worked 3 years It may have been San Francisco, San Diego, it was somewhere in California. And so she was saying that the investment that they were saying that they made in him in regards to his officer training was not quite the total truth, as he had already come as a trained officer. And
Well, that could be true, but I know from my experience in HR and other areas that it takes a lot of money to onboard employees and to get them trained to your specific in the police world, probably jurisdiction, but in the corporate world, it'd be more like your specific company or area, or so it took some money to get the guy trained up and hired on. So although the mother may be correct, they did invest some money in the guy. So, but they can be mad all they want because, like I said, somebody will replace him very shortly.
I just couldn't imagine. I don't think I want to live there. The mayor's clapping back or just making these
I think what's his name? What's the black guy's name? The police officer?
No, he's not black. This
Oh,
guy
he's not.
actually looks Asian or Chinese or something.
Oh well,
Sean Rifle.
he should clap. Deshaun, that ain't no
No,
black
it's
man.
Sean. S
Oh,
E
Sean.
A
Okay.
N
Well, Sean
Rifle.
should
Yeah, he looks
clap back on
Asian.
that weak ass mayor.
Well, he should, because that's just unreal for me. So to think a mayor with that, we're living in different times. So you know what?
We live in a different
It's
time.
not unusual.
It's
That
not.
makes sense for where we are and where politics is
Mhm.
right now. So yeah, moving right along. So since we started the show with sexual exploits and we think about the criminal justice system and, and legal systems and courts, one thing that came up was, there was a major judicial ethical issue coming up out of the great city of Atlanta. And so Bloomberg Law reported that the U.S. District Judge Eleanor Ross was privately reprimanded by the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals after an alleged 2-year extramarital affair with who was also married, and Atlanta Police Deputy Chief Kelvin Collier.
Mhm.
And so, according to the report, the relationship lasted from 2023 through 2025 and included multiple sexual encounters in the judge's chambers during work
Mm.
hours, reportedly within an earshot of
Oh
court
wow.
employees. Yes, yes,
So they were just in the courtroom. I mean, in the chambers, clapping cheeks, huh?
yes. And so I saw this video circulating. I'm like, but this looks like a hotel. That doesn't look like a courthouse. People are like, oh, yeah, that's it. You hear this lady just screaming, but it's,
Well, in the judge's chambers, that can look like however you want it to look because it's not in the public area. So it can look like a bedroom or whatever you want it to
No,
look
no,
like.
no. I'm saying the hallway. It looked like a
Oh, okay,
hotel
gotcha.
overseas or something. I'm like,
Okay.
that can't be true, right? And I even, more so, people. I won't say it's AI, but I will say it was AI. Like I'm like, okay, y'all are making this. This can't be that. That no, no. We would have been seeing that video. It's like somebody waited like a week to say, okay, yeah, this too. But that definitely dominated the news cycle this week because she is the one that actually put Todd Chrisley and his wife behind bars, which were later, what is the word? When you get released, expunged, what is it from a presidential, whatever,
A
pardon?
pardon?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She was, so they say Todd Chrisley was really upset. I don't follow him. I'm not
Is
Candy
that white man
Burris.
from Bravo or whatever?
Yeah, wherever
Network?
he's
Okay.
from. Yeah, Candy interviewed him. And I think that's when he kind of came into pop culture, you
Well, no,
know.
because he was in there before. They had like a TV show or something. I ain't never seen it, but I know they had
Yeah,
like a
but
show or
when I,
something.
well, let me not say pop culture, black culture.
Okay.
Even though he has a black granddaughter, but nonetheless, whatever. Yeah, she was the one that sent his ass, he and his wife, up the river, and so they said he was responding, very upset about this. And so, while she was privately reprimanded, I mean, you said yourself, federal judges cannot be fired, and that was a lot. That was a lot. I
Yeah.
just couldn't imagine, you putting people behind bars, and you are, morally, you're compromised in a way, you
Yes,
know.
so I can see that from both sides. I do agree that as a judge, you should have some type of decorum, and maybe if you're going to have an affair, do it at your house or somewhere where nobody's going to see you. But at the same time, people have lives. Now, nobody should be fucking at work because that's just wrong, in my opinion. But um, you're kind of held to a higher standard as a judge, so you should have used some type of decorum. But you do have a personal life as well, so I do agree that whatever you do in your personal life is kind of your personal business, unless you're hurting somebody or doing something illegal. So, it's kind of a what they say, two sides of a coin, however that statement goes.
And you know what it makes me think of? Swinging. Swinging.
Okay.
It makes me think of swingers. Uses those types of, the people that, the world would perceive to be one way, but
And
they
they
are sexually
freaked
deviant.
out freaked
Yeah,
out in the real
sexual
in their real
deviance.
life.
Absolutely. So I think it might be a swinging situation because everybody's like, oh, they're married. And I'm like, you all do know there are swinging
Yeah.
communities
And I
out
I
there.
don't I know you just said it, but I have a problem with the word sexually deviant because I mean, what's deviant about two consensual adults doing something that they want to do?
I
Just my
think it's the
question.
place, the place.
Well, yeah. Of
And the
course, the place.
constraints of being married, right? That's not traditional. So it's a
Well,
deviation from the societal norm.
okay.
So it's a sexual deviance.
Deviation. Got it.
Hmm. And it just makes me think back to, we weren't too far out of COVID, but it was a judge in New York City, young white guy, Gregory Locke, that was his name, and he got fired. He actually had an OnlyFans,
Mm.
and everybody was like, "Well, what salary does a judge make in New York City?" And I remember his salary. I think it was a little bit over $150,000.
He must have needed a little
Um,
bit more.
clearly, and so,
Everybody got to have
um,
a side hustle.
yeah, and I was like, oh. So when I looked at this, sometimes when you start searching things on Twitter, his story came up.
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I do remember this in real time. It was like,
Now, I saw the picture of him because I Googled it. Was he what kind of OnlyFans did he have? Was he man on man, woman on
he's gay.
man?
Yeah, he was having
Okay,
sex with
that was my
men. And
question.
in one of the clips, you can see him giving oral sex. This was on Twitter in the streets of New York. It was
He
at
was giving some of that
nighttime.
sloppy toppy. Okay,
He
yeah.
was giving it. Yeah. So it's just a lot. It kind of makes me want to
Well,
just, we
I'm
need to go.
sure I'm sure he's found success in his legal career because you have to be a lawyer in order to be a judge in most cases. So I'm sure he's working at somebody's law firm or he
Oof.
started his own law firm and he's raking in the dollars. I'm
You know
sure.
what? Also, I don't know if you remember this story. There was a Meta attorney. I
A
remember
Meta attorney?
a
Like he
Meta
worked for Meta?
attorney, yes, was getting
Okay.
on a gay cruise in Miami. I think the guy's
Uh-huh.
like 40 or 42. And he got arrested because of the drugs that he had in his suitcase. Do you
I
remember
kind of
that
remember.
story?
It was pretty recent. I kind of remember hearing
Yeah.
something about this. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that guy. But
Well,
nonetheless,
look
so
at Andrew Gilliam, the guy who was
moving
running for
right
governor.
along. So we're gonna say shout out to all of you freaky legal beagles out there, you judges, whether you're federal or city, as well as all of those with a law
County.
degree, practicing lawyers. Get your freak on, as Missy Elliott once said. And now we'll
Touche.
pivot. We'll take this moment to pivot our show to one of the segments that's always very near and dear to my heart. It's always going to be
Yeah.
at the intersection of sports and reality.
Oh, goody gumdrops. I
So,
can't wait.
well, we need to warm it up with something. We'll go into this thing a little bit warm since, 50 started us off and then these judges kind of got us really hot. So we'll go back down to
And bothered.
warm with the show. Dallas Mavericks, Najee Marshall. Do you know he was very generous? What's the largest tip that you left at a restaurant?
Oh, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've done more than. It depends on the amount of the bill. So, give or take $25,
Okay. I
just for
tip
me
back.
myself, right? Not for
Yeah.
multiple people. Just for me myself.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
just that good. Yeah.
I tip based off of service.
Hmm.
And I don't really care about how much the bill is. I just tip based off of service.
Okay. Well, Najee was in Miss B at Otis Seafood House in New Orleans, and his bill was around $1,100, and he left a $5,000 tip.
Okay, good. Well, if you got it to
Yeah.
give, then help somebody
Yeah.
out. That could have made their rent and their car payment for probably 2 months
Yeah.
in New Orleans, because I'm sure rent in New Orleans ain't that much. So they probably paid their rent for a couple months, as well as another
Absolutely.
bill.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody who needed a tip early in his career. Fernando Tatis Jr. We talk about MLB. So at the start of his career, when he was in the minor leagues, he said, he needed some money, right?
Hmm.
And so he took a $2 million advance and said, told the party that gave him the money, hey, I'll give you 10% of whatever I make in the MLB. And so, of course, he has made a lot of money, which
Hmm.
equates to $340 million.
So
And
he owed
he
folks $30 million.
$34 million has been the return of that. And so I think on the grand scheme of things, I guess, but you know what? That 340 is taxed. I don't believe that the 34 is taxed, right?
No,
You get what I'm
because
saying?
he already paid taxes on it presumptively. But if you lend somebody, I mean,
You gave me 2 million. This
yeah.
is my
But
10%. You see what I'm
so
saying?
yeah,
So he lost.
so the guy that he's paying the $34 million to may have to pay taxes on it because it's income.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Oof. Well, okay.
because
Well,
Uncle Sam want his money up front and
but you know
on
what?
time.
Maybe Fernando needs to start an OnlyFans too, so he can make
No, he
it
does.
back.
Well, I mean, he can if he wants to, but $300 and some million, I don't think you need to start an only. You can if you want to, though.
He
But
might need to. That's a big chunk because if it's
you
three
must
hundred
want
and
to
forty
see.
million, what are they taxed at? Like 50%. So that means
So
he's like at
I don't know.
120,
I
150. So
I
if
don't
you
know.
take 34 away from that,
If
they
he has
taking
a
almost
if he has
a
a good accountant, he'll put his shit in a tax shell or a shell
okay.
corporation and get taxed less, like the great President Donald Trump has been doing for years and years and years. And the IRS has said, "Oh, we can't go back and look at his shit no more." So if he's smart, he has a good accountant, and they can hide his taxes the way that the president has been doing for an eternity.
We're gonna follow up on this story because I want to get down to the penny. Because I'm thinking that's what the little middle math I just did. I'm like, that's like a third of your take home pay that you had to give out.
Hmm.
So, and it doesn't say if he had to give it all away at one time. It could have been overtime. So we're gonna follow up on that story next week. And speaking of follow up stories, taking it on back to the A. Welcome to
Atlanta,
Atlanta, where the players
oh, that
play. I
ghetto
don't know the
ass
rest of the word.
place.
Yeah,
Old
following up
Robin.
on Mr. James Pierce Jr. If you remember, we talked about him some episodes ago. We've kind of been following these stories, you all. We're building a house here, and so Falcons player James Pierce Jr. He was recently approved for a 1-year diversion program. If you think about this story, remember he was the one that was stalking the WNBA girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend, and somehow he kind of had a face-off or interaction with Miami police officers. But he's doing this pre-trial program in hopes that his attorney pretty much said that, yeah, he's approved for it. And so what will happen is, even though the timeline has been extended, when they talk about going to trial from 6 months to 1 year, if he completes this program and doesn't have any further legal trouble, all of the felony and misdemeanor charges against him will be dropped and he will avoid jail time. So they found a way. If you think back to that story, we played a video where his mom was saying that he's so humble, he's so kind, and of course, this was kind of opposite of that. But yeah, so that's an opportunity for him. But also, speaking of the ex-girlfriend, she did go ahead and drop the permanent restraining order against him. However, he is still supposed to keep his distance for the next 12 months from her.
Tell me again what he's charged with, because I kind of forgot.
Stalking, and remember, he chased her with his vehicle, and now the charges that he had that were between the officer and him, those got dropped. But I know it was definitely stalking because I think she
Okay.
had drove to the Miami Police Department, and he was into.
Hmm.
So it's yeah,
Okay.
got that going on. So we'll
All
see.
right.
Yeah, fun time, right? Fun time. And you talked about the president, and one thing about it, his ex, I think it's his ex daughter-in-law, Vanessa Trump. Yeah, and so
Mm. I don't know her. I've never heard
who
of her.
was she was recently diagnosed with breast cancer,
Hmm.
and her Donald Trump Jr. recently got remarried.
Oh,
Yeah, but Tiger Woods took a break, put pause on his treatment over there in Switzerland, and he came back to the United States to really. They said he checked on her, but he has now returned back to Switzerland. Everyone, we heard,
oh,
oh,
to
Tiger
finish his
Woods is
treatment
back in
up.
the state. Yeah, we talked about that in the previous.
So that's Tiger Woods' girlfriend.
Yes, we talked
Okay.
about that. Yeah, that he had come back, and he's now gone back
Hmm.
to finish that treatment, and it's been said that he's gonna be there for a long time.
Well, maybe he'll stay his ass over there
Yeah, they said he's
and
gonna be
become
there
a
for a long
Swedish
time.
citizen. Well, good. Maybe he can find some help and get what he needs over in Sweden with the snow bunnies because he loves them
Absolutely.
so much.
Yeah. And in other news, I saw this and I said, "Oh my goodness, these
You didn't
guys,
do it.
man,
You didn't do it.
these guys." Green Bay Packers running back Josh Jacobs has been booked on domestic abuse and strangulation charges.
Mm. Felony.
Now, Josh, I know you haven't heard of us yet. You will be listening to the Rufus and Craig show like the rest of South Africa is.
Is he in South
Uh,
Africa?
no, well, He will be like them, okay? He gonna be listening to us like them. Josh,
I doubt it,
we
but
have
okay.
said it time and time. You gotta believe. Josh is going. I'm putting
I
this out
do.
there. This
But
will reach you, Josh.
is Josh a
Man, we
straight
have said
man?
it. No, he's not. But
Oh,
keep
okay.
your hands to yourself as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Walk away. It just does not make sense. And I did not, for
Absolutely.
this time, I did not look up his contract
Oh,
to see how
interesting.
much Josh has been making or being paid. But Josh, it just ain't worth it, man. Even the
Yeah, keep
press
your hands to
alone,
yourself. I'll say that as
even
much
the
as he's iterated,
press,
I'm reiterating it. Keep your hands
yes.
to yourself,
Even
please.
the press, it's just it's not worth it. And we just talked about Pierce. I don't think Pierce ever made any physical contact with his girlfriend, but we seeing too much of this. And I think what's happening now, these girls are, well, excuse me, not girls. These young ladies are women rather, are no longer afraid to call the police. And so,
Good,
you know,
because you
it's
shouldn't.
it's
It ain't right to let the motherfucker pound on you.
woo. Didn't that come from a movie?
It did. It was called "What's Love Got to Do with It," featuring Angela Bassett.
Whose line was that?
That was the character's name was Jackie, but the actor's name is Vanessa Bell Calloway. She played Tina Turner's best friend in the movie, and that happened in a diner. Oh my God,
It
that was so
happened in a
specific.
diner.
Yeah, the
You
scene
see?
happened in a diner when Ike was like, "Eat the cake, anime," and then
Oh,
Tina slapped the cake out his mouth, and then he slapped her down, and then
oh.
he tried to slap Jackie, and Jackie was like, "You ain't got to hit me but one motherfucking time," and then
That's what she said.
yeah,
I remember
you never seen
that.
this
Yes, I do remember that.
homework assignment? You got to rewatch it.
No, no, no. I do remember that, and that gave me time even to pull up, Josh's career earnings. He had a $48 million contract, man,
Oh,
and he's been
that's why
playing
that
since
diversion took place.
2019. Yeah, he
Okay.
should know better. Up to date, he has been
Well,
paid $46 million, almost $47 million.
here's the deal. Just because you make a lot of money, and we talked about this before, but just because you awarded a lot of money at one time doesn't mean that you have any type of skills beyond whatever sport or talent
Yeah,
that you possess. So he maybe should not have known better. Well, he should have known better,
over 7 years, he's been a multimillionaire, and
but
you gonna go strangle somebody?
multimillionaire doesn't exclude you from the trials and tribulations of life.
What we say, you need a financial manager and you need some kind of
A
mental health
counselor,
professional
correct.
to really work. Yeah,
And
yeah.
for him, possibly an anger management person, which is also a mental
Ooh,
health professional, I guess.
specialized,
Hmm.
specialized. And speaking of the NFL, our final story for today before we release you all back to your days, we really appreciate you tuning in. The Supreme Court, for once, has done something right. They're
Oh, tell me
gonna
about this.
allow, yeah, they're gonna allow Brian Flores to sue the NFL for discriminating against black coaches.
Okay. Well,
So
all
for
right, that's
once,
cool.
a decision has been made that I won't say that's in favor of black people because you still got to sue to get your dollar. So,
So
um,
explain to me how he needed permission to sue the NFL.
a lot of times lower courts will throw things out.
True. So
And
that's
so you
happened.
got to
Has that
keep
happened?
going, appeal and appeal.
Has
I'm taking it in this situation. I didn't do my research,
okay,
unfortunately, you all. I just read the headlines. I saw it and I didn't click the link.
got
But
it.
even the headlines enough were kind of self-assuring. And let's see here. I'll just look it up. What they say? Doom, 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 doom,
Oh, the
doom,
Jeopardy
doom,
music.
doom, doom,
Mm. All
doom,
right,
doom,
Jeopardy
doom.
music.
We will not get sued because we are
We
Rufus
got to report
and
facts as
Craig.
much as we
We
can.
will
Because
not
if you
get
sue me, I ain't
sued
got no money. So all of this
today.
is alleged.
Boom.
I have no money. Don't sue me because you won't get anything. I am completely flat broke. Thank you very much.
And it's what we thought. Yeah. So according to CNN, what had happened, it said the Supreme Court declined Tuesday to take up an appeal from the National Football League in a class action lawsuit from Brian Flores and other black coaches who have claimed racial discrimination. It says by passing on the appeal, the court's decision leaves in place an appeals court's ruling that allowed the lawsuit to go to trial and rejecting an effort by the league to force Flores into arbitration. Oh, so they wanted to
Mm.
negotiate.
Yeah, big companies always want to do
They don't want.
arbitration because the arbitration is it doesn't bring as much
Wow.
publicity for one, and arbitration it's cost less. There's a whole lot of reasons they like arbitration over trial.
Yeah, and as we round out the episode, so what he's been suing for, it says Flores, who is currently the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, was
Hmm.
previously a coach with the New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He sued the league in 2022, claiming systemic racism when it came to the hiring and promotion of black coaches.
Okay. I think he, based off of what you just said, I think he probably has a good chance of winning that case. He's not suing for money, he's suing for an injunction. And I think, race is part of one of the classes that you cannot discriminate based on. So I think he might have a good chance of winning that case, and good luck to him.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep that on our radar and be sure to follow up. And that takes our show for today. We appreciate being able to check in with you all briefly. We welcome Rufus back to the continental United States. He's back stateside with new wheels and all. So he is just a worldwide man.
You said you weren't gonna do this.
Worldwide
you did it anyway.
man.
You said you weren't gonna do this. And you did it
Gotcha
anyway.
at the end.
Very much
Gotcha.
so. Edit it out, or I'm gonna sue
Gotcha.
your ass. I'm gonna be very litigious and sue your ass.
Bye,
Bye,
it's
y'all.
that in. See y'all.